He was a rising star on the local music scene.
He was known throughout the community.
The type of guy that men wanted to be and women wanted to be with.
But he was more than just a local celebrity.
He was raising his daughter on his own.
He was a good person, just doing right by the community and his family.
So when he's gunned down, shockwaves roll through the whole town.
911. Where?
Somebody got shot.
Police find him lifeless in her arms. Who would kill this man in cold blood?
Investigators struggle to find answers.
He was a pillar of the community.
They were starting out with no leads.
Until a trail of breadcrumbs points to a lethal conspiracy.
This appeared to be a targeted homicide.
There had to be multiple people involved.
There was a mastermind behind it.
But will the killers escape justice?
The investigators don't have any hard evidence. He was that manipulative and that good at getting people to do his bidding.
There's no trade-off.
You know, it's very Christmassy.
Everybody's festive and having a good time as they head to the lighting of the peace candle.
The peace candle event would be something where like a lot of people in the community would show up for. It would be something probably that people would go to every year and bring their families, and something that people would really look forward to.
As the crowd gathers for the ceremony, Susan Thornton, however, is at home, waiting for her friend Irvin Holton to arrive.
Irvin Holton was a DJ, and Susan Thornton had agreed that Irvin could use her car to get all the equipment he needed to an event that Friday night.
They were good friends. She was helping them out.
And about 5:40, Susan gets a call from Irvin saying that he's arriving.
Hey, you almost here?
Yeah, I'm walking up now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be right there.
Yeah.
But suddenly, she hears a series of loud bangs.
Every year on Black Friday, there's an event in town to kick off the Christmas season.
It's a very celebratory time in downtown Easton. It's not uncommon for fireworks to be lit off.
But when she steps outside, she realizes that what she heard wasn't fireworks.
Oh my God, Irvin!
Susan opens the door and finds Irvin in a pool of blood.
He was shot multiple times.
43-year-old Irvin Holton was the kind of person who made friends everywhere he went.
He's a great guy.
He was always positive, always happy, the kind of person that anybody would want to spend time with.
Irvin lived in Easton, Pennsylvania for the past 20 years.
He liked the slower pace of life there compared to where he grew up in Washington, D.C.
He considered it his home.
Easton was also where he made a name for himself as a DJ.
Everybody refers to Irvin as DJ E, and he was known throughout the community.
When you came to one of his parties, everybody knew you was going to have a really great time.
But Irvin was adored by the community for more than just his DJing skills.
He was a giving person. He loved to entertain, not just for the local clubs, but also volunteering his time and his services for different parties and events.
He was doing things for people's weddings, just out of the goodness of his heart.
But there was something DJ E loved even more than performing: his family.
He was a single dad raising his daughter alone.
Irvin took his role as a father very seriously. He made sure that aside from DJing, he took a factory job just to make sure that she had everything she needed.
She was just his whole world.
Because of his efforts, she excelled and was an honor student in her class.
Baby girl, a jacket?
Oh, thank you, Dad.
You're welcome.
On top of his responsibilities at work and home, Irvin also helped look after his ailing mother.
Irvin's mother was terminally ill.
She was in a nursing facility and wasn't doing well.
And the Thanksgiving holiday only made the situation harder.
That's going to put a lot more pressure on the family on the holidays, because They don't know if this is that person's last holiday with them.
Work and caring for his family left little time for a love life until Irvin met Janice.
Janice Walters was working as a waitress at a local restaurant.
She was working an event that Irvin was DJing, and he caught her eye.
Can I request a song?
Anything for you.
He has this presence of like a local celebrity.
He really showed you what it means to be a cool type of guy.
I bet you get girls' numbers all the time.
I usually don't call back, but for you, I will.
And before long, they were spending all of their free time together.
From the moment that Irvin met Janice, they were inseparable. It's like it just was magic. They had so much of a connection.
With Irvin being a single parent and his mother with failing health, Janice seemed like someone who could help him shoulder those burdens.
And to Irvin, Janice appeared to be the perfect addition to his family.
He was really building the life he had always wanted.
Oh my God!
But now, Irvin Holton has been shot down on the doorstep of his friend Susan's home.
Her first thought is to try to render him some type of aid.
Well, she grabbed anything she had handy to try and stop the bleeding.
Help! Call 911!
Thankfully, her neighbor was home and heard her yelling.
He was shot!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Stay with me!
911.
Somebody got shot! Somebody got shot!
All right, where was he shot at?
He looks like he's shot in the chest. He's died. He died, man.
Easton police officers arrive at the scene within minutes, but they're already too late.
Police find Susan cradling Irvin lifeless in her arms.
Yeah.
It's the county.
What's up?
Okay, there's been a shooting in Easton.
Is person alive or dead?
Dead.
Irvin was declared dead at the scene, and homicide investigators were immediately called in.
And it doesn't take them long to rule out one theory.
When investigators searched Irvin's pockets, they realized that he had a wallet full of $150.
It was apparent that this was not a random robbery.
He was shot multiple times.
The last shot was fired at close range.
This was an execution.
"43-year-old single father Irvin Holton was living his dream in Easton, Pennsylvania as a popular DJ known as DJ E.
DJ E never let success and the admiration get to his head. He was humble enough to throw free parties for different events.
He's showing people you can be a business person, you can have fun, but you can still look out for your friends and community.
He was also looking out for his family.
Irvin was raising his daughter on his own.
He was a good person, just doing right by the community and doing right by his family.
And despite his busy schedule, he always made time for his new girlfriend, Janice Walters.
The relationship that Irvin had with Janice was a relationship where he could be who he genuinely was, different from what everyone saw in the spotlight.
But now, instead of building a future together, Irvin Holton lies dead outside his friend's home.
Irvin Holton was gunned down in the middle of the street on that Friday evening.
And Easton homicide detectives are quickly able to rule out a couple of potential scenarios.
When investigators showed up on the scene, they noticed that there were multiple gunshots to Irvin's body.
He had been hit several times in the legs, but the fatal wound was to his chest.
The shot to his chest wasn't just a drive-by shooting, it was at a point-blank range.
He wasn't shot by an armed robber either.
He had his wallet on him. He had cash in his pockets.
This wasn't a robbery gone wrong.
This appeared to be a targeted homicide.
As detectives examine the area around his body, they make another discovery.
Detectives found several shell casings at the scene, and they noticed there were 2 different calibers.
He's got 2 guns. Yep.
At the scene, it was determined that there was 2 shooters.
Somehow, these perpetrators knew he was going to be there.
Now the question is, why?
What's the motive for this horrific crime?
Who would intentionally kill a guy like Irvin?
They hope to get answers from the last person to see Irvin alive, Susan Thornton.
Susan was in a state of complete shock. Out of nowhere, she had to desperately try to keep one of her good friends from bleeding out on her doorstep.
For her to witness something horrific like that and to hold this gentleman in her arms and when he's taking his last breath, for the rest of your life, that picture stays in your mind.
When tragedies like this happen, it's a shock to everyone. When you experience trauma, such as losing a good friend right in front of you, it's something that can affect you for many, many years. And one of the things that I believe Susan would benefit from is some trauma-informed care with a therapist or someone who is trained to be able to help her process all of the things of losing a good friend.
Pulling herself together, Susan tells investigators that Irvin wanted to borrow her car to get to an event he was DJing.
Susan Thornton had agreed that Irvin could use her car so he could transport all of his equipment to the show.
He called me right before he...
Did he seem upset at all?
No, he was excited for his show.
When detectives asked Susan, do you know of anybody that would want to hurt him? She said, no, this is a stand-up guy. He's loved by everybody.
Susan also tells the detectives that Irvin has a teenage daughter who lives with him.
Police officers and a social worker were dispatched to Irvin's home to find his daughter, to make sure she was all right, and to give her the tragic news of her father's death.
It will be the beginning of a lifelong struggle for her.
The holiday times can be difficult for families if they've lost someone during that time frame because it is such a joyous time of the year. It's a time of celebration. We're preparing for Christmas. To have that happen during such a joyous occasion, it can affect a family for many years to come. The following year, they're thinking this was around the time that we lost our loved one, and it makes it even more difficult.
If you're 14 years old and you experience a really sudden loss, especially of a parent or a primary caregiver, that completely changes your outlook. That trauma can bring on mental illness.
Everyone's going to remember on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, there was this tragedy that took place, and thinking about like how that family's never going to be the same and all the people around them has lost such a bright light. So loss is like the biggest thing that's going to affect everybody.
But before detectives wrap up their interview with Susan, she is able to give them a name.
He's got a new girlfriend, too. She may know more.
Do you know her name?
Yeah, Janice Walters.
Investigators look at the person that's closest to them, the person that they spend the most time with, to get as much information as you possibly could.
Obviously, they wanted to talk to Janice.
Would you happen to have her number?
Yes, I do.
Detectives have their starting point, but as they're leaving the crime scene, they're handed a more promising lead.
A person approached the detectives on the scene.
He said he was with Irvin before the shot had happened.
Irvin had been hanging out with his friend Tommy Payne in a different section of Easton. Irvin needed to get over to St. Joseph Street so he could go visit Susan Thornton.
Tommy says he'd driven Irvin to a convenience store across the street from Susan's home.
They wanted to grab some beer to take to Irvin's show that night.
Mr. Holton walked in, he kind of made a loop through the business and then said to his buddy, hey, I'm going to go across the street and pick up a car. And Tommy stayed there.
While he was in the store, Tommy heard a series of bangs.
Tommy didn't think it was gunshots that he heard.
I heard pop, pop. I thought it was fire because I'm like, that's not anybody shooting.
But just to be sure, he called Irvin's phone.
I said, let me call E to make sure, because that sound kind of close. I said, let me call E to make sure he's okay.
But Irvin didn't answer.
So Tommy actually walks outside and sees Irvin's collapse outside of Susan's residence.
I heard a scream, he was laying down.
But that wasn't all he saw.
He sees two figures dressed in dark clothing running from the scene.
He didn't see any faces or anything specific, but what he did know was that they were all dressed in black.
Whoever it was, they knew
he was going to have to get that car. You just got to figure out, you know what I mean?
He explained to them that Irvin was a stand-up guy, and he didn't know anybody that would want to harm him.
With one possible exception.
He told police that the only guy that probably would have a problem with Irvin was Keith Poole.
He tells police that the two men had been in a dispute for a very long time.
But recently, the feud had escalated.
There was an altercation.
Keith pulled a gun on him.
He'd threatened Irvin's life.
After 43-year-old Irvin Holton was gunned down outside an Easton, Pennsylvania residence, detectives are working quickly to find any lead to his killers.
Starting out with no leads in an investigation can be very frustrating.
Anyone could be involved in what happened here.
But now Irvin's friend, Tommy Payne, has just given detectives their first potential suspect.
Tommy was speculating that this could have been initiated by an individual he knew as Keith Poole.
Tommy tells the police that the two men had been in a dispute for a very long time.
But recently, the dispute took a serious turn.
He told me that he pulled the gun out on him.
What's more, Tommy claims to have seen Keith earlier near the scene of the murder.
He was around there earlier that day, was with another guy in the car.
Thank you for your time.
Back at the station, detectives set their sights on Keith Poole, starting with his criminal history.
Keith Poole had had run-ins with the police, had done time in jail.
He'd gone to prison, but he'd been released on parole.
And when investigators comb through his social media, they discover a potential motive.
Janice Walters. Isn't that who Susan said Irvin was dating?
Yeah, I think it was.
Irvin had been involved in some level in a relationship with Mr. Poole's former girlfriend, Janice Walters.
Was it possible that the two men were feuding over Janice?
Detectives tried calling Janice to ask her to come to the station for an interview, but she didn't answer.
Hey, you've reached Janice. Sorry I missed you.
Trying to arrange an interview with Keith, however, is a little easier.
Keith is on probation. And when investigators contacted his probation officer, they found out that he actually skipped his meeting.
The meeting was scheduled for earlier that day.
Based on that information, officers issued a bolo for Keith that told police to arrest him on site.
While waiting to hear back from Janice and for Keith to be found, investigators searched for more clues in the 911 calls made around the time of Irvin's murder.
There were lots of calls that came into 911. Someone had to have seen something that was useful.
Luckily for detectives, one call gives them an eyewitness.
She was outside the same convenience store Irvin had visited just before his death when she heard gunshots go off.
I'm actually driving downtown. I heard the shooting and seen two black males running.
Her story matched what Tommy Payne told the police, but she was actually able to see where they were heading and what vehicle they fled in.
They ran over to Solomeo and got into a black Odyssey.
The woman's able to provide a description of the vehicle, although she couldn't make out the license plate.
With this new information, detectives hope area surveillance cameras can tell them more.
There were cameras mounted directly outside the front of the store, and these cameras point into the parking lot area exactly where Irvin was shot and killed.
On the video, the investigators can clearly see Irvin leaving the store and walking towards Susan Thornton's house. But it won't be the break they were hoping for.
Excitement quickly gave way to shock and disappointment. As Mr. Holton walks out of the store, suddenly the picture is gone and all you can see is a bright white image of a spider crossing the scene. This spider decided to cross exactly at the moment that Irvin Holton was shot and killed.
The bad luck of that happening, it was just unbelievable.
However, detectives have better luck with the next video they review.
When detectives follow up with the restaurant, they discover that it had several surveillance cameras mounted around the building.
The managers for the restaurant were able to provide the footage from the day in question.
Like the caller reported, the video shows a dark van parked outside the restaurant shortly before the shooting.
2 individuals in dark clothing with hoods on exit the van.
Then the 2 men head off in the direction of the crime scene.
The 2 men begin jogging like they're in a hurry. And then they exit the view of the camera.
They aren't out of view for long.
Approximately a minute goes by, and these 2 individuals appear again.
The men re-enter the frame in a dead sprint back towards their vehicle, holding what police believe to be guns.
They are seen entering into this Honda Odyssey and driving away quickly from the restaurant.
The investigators are convinced these are the 2 men who killed Irvin.
But is one of them Keith Poole?
Detective Rush.
It's not long before detectives are able to ask him face to face.
Their bolo paid off. An officer was able to take Keith into custody.
When they sat down with him and explained the situation, he seemed genuinely shocked.
Wait, what? Y'all guys think I'm involved?
What were you?
No.
Keith tells the investigators there's no way he could be one of the killers. He says he was across town playing football with his girlfriend's kids at the time of the murder.
He also insists he had no reason to want to kill Irvin.
No. Listen, yeah, we didn't get along, but that doesn't mean I want the guy dead.
Mr. Poole indicated that the prior incident between himself and Mr. Holton was blown out of proportion, that he did not bear any ill will towards Irvin.
He told them that he missed his parole check-in because he spent the night with his girlfriend the night before, and they just overslept.
An officer will be with you shortly.
But Keith could be lying. So while he sits in jail for violating his parole, detectives check his alibi.
After speaking to his friends and girlfriend, they determined there's no way he could have committed the murder that night.
They were able to cross him off the list as a suspect in this case.
It takes the wind out of your sails. I got this guy in my sights, and it turns out that you're incorrect.
Still unable to make contact with Irvin's girlfriend, Janice, detectives try another approach.
Hoping to turn up some information, they reach out to the local news media and appeal to the public for help.
The effort pays off.
Detective Snyder.
They got a call from someone claiming to be one of Irvin's friends.
He tells police they should be looking at Jana's ex-boyfriend, Patrick Hughes.
And what makes you think he might have something to do with this?
He says that Janice had started dating Irvin while Patrick was serving time in prison.
He had been arrested on a narcotics charge.
But he'd heard that Patrick is out now.
Patrick had been released from prison a few weeks earlier.
Mr. Hughes was back in the area.
He wasn't happy that Janice had started seeing someone else.
The investigation into the shooting death of Irvin Holton hit a major setback when detectives learned their prime suspect, Keith Poole, had an airtight alibi for the time of the murder.
That's when a new tip comes in from one of Irvin's friends.
There's a possible connection of a scorned lover.
The caller tells police that Irvin's girlfriend, Janice Walters, previously dated a man named Patrick Hughes.
According to him, Patrick was angry that Janice had started seeing Irvin while he was in prison.
And you say he got out of prison a few weeks ago?
I'll check the data release.
Could Patrick be one of the men on the surveillance tape?
Do you know what kind of car Patrick drives? Is it a dark-colored van?
The tipster says no. However, he tells police that Jana's best friend, Melinda Owens, drives a vehicle that matches the description.
After the phone call, detectives reach out to Patrick Hughes to get him in for an interview.
They couldn't get a hold of Patrick, so they decided to look into the other lead that Irvin's friend gave them first.
They pay a visit to Melinda Owens' home to get a look at the car.
And detectives find it parked in front of her house.
It appears to be the same make and model as the one seen in the surveillance footage.
Can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. Is this your vehicle?
Yeah, what's going on?
When detectives explain, Melinda initially says that there's no way her van could be on video from that evening.
Went shopping that day, Black Friday sales. Then I came home and that was that.
No. Babe, you don't remember?
But her boyfriend, Omar Robinson, tells her she's mistaken.
I had the van that night.
Mr. Robinson says, I actually had the van in the evening hours between about 5 and 6 p.m.
He says he had used the vehicle to drive to a gas station around sundown that night.
A gas station on the opposite side of town.
Yeah, he's right. I just forgot.
Alarm bells immediately start to go off for the detectives.
Was Melinda trying to cover for Omar by claiming she had the van all night? Or is Omar protecting her?
When you're in a relationship, you're inclined to protect your partner because that's what relationships are about.
Janice was Melinda's best friend. So was it possible that Janice had been avoiding detectives because she was involved in Irvin's murder?
Hoping to sort out the truth, detectives decide they need to talk to Melinda and Omar separately.
They confront Omar with the footage.
Let me show you some of the footage from that evening. See this van here?
He indicated to him that they had surveillance footage of the individuals who committed this murder running through the Solomeo parking lot and getting into a Honda Odyssey van, and that it was their belief that this van was the exact same van that was currently parked in Mr. Robinson's driveway.
He could tell Omar starting to get nervous.
Why don't you tell me what happened that evening?
Mr. Robinson indicates that they were mistaken about that belief and that he had nothing to do with this murder.
While detectives were suspicious of Omar, they had to check out his story before they could make an arrest.
For your time. We appreciate it.
After talking to Omar, detectives pay a visit to the gas station where he claims he was at the time of the murder.
None of the employees remember seeing Omar, and there weren't any security cameras that could prove he was there.
With nothing to back up his story, the investigators are even more convinced he's lying, but they'll need more evidence to make an arrest.
And a few days later, they catch their next break.
Patrick Hughes has been arrested on unrelated drug charges.
With Patrick in custody, investigators sit down with him for an interview.
So, did you know him at all, DJE?
Okay. Nothing about him. I know he spent records.
Patrick tells them that he hardly knew Irvin and denies playing any part in the murder.
He also denies being jealous that Irvin was dating his ex-girlfriend, Janice Walters.
Can you see somebody shooting somebody over a girl?
I can't see me shooting nobody over a girl.
But when the detectives ask him where he was on the night of the murder, Patrick doesn't have a good answer.
I might have been in the city. About 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Sometime throughout in that area. It was getting about dark around that time.
It seems like he's being deliberately vague about his whereabouts.
So we know you're in Easton. You're saying that's quite possible.
Exactly where I was doing what and what only. I can't specify that to you.
But detectives keep pressing.
Do you know Omar?
Some of my friends.
Yeah.
Did you see Omar and all that then?
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking about 2 weeks ago.
His response raises a red flag for detectives.
When detectives spoke to Omar, he didn't mention Patrick at all, let alone possibly hanging out with him on the day of the murder.
Either you're not telling us the full story or this other person. I'm going to be honest with you and upfront with you. I don't think you're being completely truthful.
Patrick Hughes then changed his story and related to the police that, well, okay, yes, I had been with Mr. Robinson that morning, but after that, I was not involved in any kind of an incident with Irvin Holton.
The detectives give Patrick a warning.
Just remember, whoever talks first usually goes in their favor.
What he is willing to say now is where he was that night.
Patrick Hughes says that he had arranged a second drug transaction, that he was on the south side of Easton at about the time Mr. Holton was shot and killed.
You got me telling you about some drugs. This is crazy.
So you're saying you did not shoot E?
I'm saying I didn't have anything to do with none of it.
If Omar did, would you tell me? Say Omar was involved, just for the sake of argument.
I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
I can't say that.
And again, Patrick insists he would never shoot someone over a woman.
If I wanted to get back with her, I would be talking to her. More likely, I already slept with her. I don't want her.
With no evidence directly linking Patrick Hughes to the shooting, detectives sent him back to jail, charged only with a drug offense.
Police don't have enough to arrest either Patrick or Omar Robinson for murder.
Omar has no clear connection to Irvin at all. And Patrick insisted that he doesn't care about his ex dating Irvin. So neither man has a particularly compelling motive.
But finally, Janice Walters is back in Easton.
She was out of town visiting family for Thanksgiving when she got news of Irvin's death, and she decided to stay a few extra days.
And the reason why may give detectives their missing connection.
She was scared.
According to Janice, Patrick Hughes was obsessed with her.
Detectives investigating the murder of Irvin Holton have just discovered that his girlfriend's previous relationship with Patrick Hughes wasn't what it seemed.
Her relationship with Mr. Hughes was not a healthy relationship.
He was very possessive.
Janice said Patrick had abused her emotionally and verbally, and sometimes even physically.
I don't want to be with him by any means necessary ever. And I told him that numerous times.
And last year, when Patrick went to prison, she saw a chance to end it once and for all. But Patrick pushed back.
He continued to pursue Janice, even though it was clear that she wanted to move on.
He started calling me. I don't put any money on the phone.
So Patrick began flooding her with letters from prison.
Some of the letters are mean and nasty, and some are claiming me, and you'll see. Yeah.
Ms. Walters actually turned over all of those letters to Easton Police.
The letters make it clear Patrick was lying when he said he was over Janice.
He's not going to admit to being obsessed with this girl, but it's in the writings that he sent to her.
In these letters were professions of love. They were also filled with statements that were threatening in nature.
He felt if he couldn't have her, then no one else could.
And recently, Patrick's letters had become even more sinister.
Even after his most recent drug arrest a few days earlier, Patrick was still sending her letters from jail.
He was telling Janice that he wants to change and that he is done with shooting people and he wants to move forward with her.
When did he ever shoot anyone?
He was never charged for anything like that.
Was he referencing Irvin's murder?
So to mention shooting someone, it was almost like an unconscious confession.
Detectives will need concrete evidence to back up any suspicions.
They hope to find proof that would put both Patrick Hughes and Omar Robinson in the getaway vehicle used by the shooters, Melinda's van.
With the search warrant, police conducted a forensic search of the vehicle.
To the naked eye, it appears clean. But detectives have a theory.
When a gun is fired, chemicals are expelled in a cloud. Those chemicals can adhere to any number of surfaces,
including the hand holding the gun.
There's residue that's going to be on you and what you touch.
They swabbed the outside of the driver's door, the inside of the driver's door, as well as the steering wheel.
Detectives were right. The swabs pick up gunshot residue on the steering wheel.
Since Omar admitted he'd driven the van that night, it definitely connected him to the shooting, but it didn't implicate Patrick Hughes.
They needed something that would put Patrick with Omar on the night of the shooting.
So detectives turned to Patrick and Omar's phone records.
Whenever a cell phone is utilized, cell phones will bounce off of nearby cell towers. You can track the movement of a cellular phone as it bounces off different towers.
If you're making calls, it could tell you almost to the street where you're at.
The records clearly put Patrick and Omar in the area at the time the murder was committed.
Our two primary targets are close enough to where Irvin Holton is shot and killed that they were bouncing off the nearest cell tower.
They were in almost constant contact around the time Irvin was killed.
If you're involved in a crime with someone else, you want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Even more telling is the gap in their communications.
There's a block of time at the exact moment where the individuals are seen on camera running through the parking lot. There is no activity whatsoever on their phones. Then 10 minutes later, they pick up again. But during the time when Mr. Irvin Holton was murdered, nothing.
For detectives, it's a smoking gun.
Aside from the information from Miss Walters, the letters that they collected, aside from the video surveillance, now they've got the cell phone records, putting our two prime suspects not only in the vicinity, but communicating extensively with one another right before and right after the homicide.
But then they realize there's one problem.
If Omar and Patrick were the two gunmen caught on security cameras leaving the scene in the van, why were they using their cell phones to communicate?
The phone records provide an unexpected explanation.
The cell tower hit showed that after the shooting, Omar's phone left the scene in the opposite direction of Patrick's.
Which means Patrick Hughes wasn't in the van.
He was driving in a separate vehicle.
They know Omar was the one driving the van, which meant Patrick was not one of the gunmen. He was just the ringleader.
Omar and another individual actually did the murder.
One of the killers was still on the loose.
Investigators with the Easton, Pennsylvania Police Department have used cell phone data to place their primary suspects at the scene of Irvin Holton's murder.
We've got Patrick Hughes and Omar Robinson bouncing off the nearest cell tower.
However, the cell phone records also pose a problem.
Detectives found security footage that showed the two gunmen fleeing the scene together in a van. But the phone records showed Patrick and Omar's phone leaving in different directions.
So detectives are now looking for a third accomplice.
The obvious way to identify the third man would be to get Omar or Patrick to give up the name.
So detectives take another run at them.
Do you think that guy knew me? The third mystery guy.
Say who he knows.
All right.
I don't know him.
Patrick refuses to admit he was involved in the shooting.
I didn't have nothing to do with this, so I said I didn't know the man. I don't know what his situation was or why he got shot. I don't know nothing about the man. Just because he was dealing with a chick that I used to deal with, that was their business.
But despite repeated questioning, the men never identified the other gunman.
Neither one of them rolled on the other person that was involved.
It's disappointing, but detectives are still convinced they have the man who sent Omar and the second shooter to kill Irvin Holton.
Mr. Hughes had organized this. Mr. Hughes was the mastermind behind it.
He was so obsessed with Janice that he was willing to kill to have her.
And while he's in custody on the drug charge, Patrick finally admits he was behind the murder to another inmate.
People talking in jail.
Patrick Hughes stated directly to him, yeah, that business with Irvin Holton, that's my work. I got my boy O to do that for me.
Talking to a cellmate has got to be the worst thing you could possibly do, especially if they're looking to shorten their time. They don't care anything about you.
And it's just what detectives needed to charge Patrick Hughes and Omar Robinson with first-degree murder.
Hughes was charged on the grounds of accomplice liability. If you aid and abet somebody in committing a crime, you are just as responsible for committing it as if you pulled the trigger yourself.
And on January 12th, 2017, Patrick Hughes and Omar Robinson both stand trial for the murder of Irvin Holton.
In their opening statement, prosecutors told the jury that the murder was the work of a man driven by jealousy and obsession.
Janice Walters takes the stand and describes Patrick's obsessive behavior toward her.
One of the things that we're looking at is wanting to constantly control everything and all the people around you.
So the threatening letters he'd written her from prison are read in court.
He's writing these letters even though she's very clearly disinterested.
When he got out of prison, he just picked right back up with his compulsive behaviors.
And at some point, Patrick decided that the only way to keep Janice was to eliminate her new boyfriend.
Patrick killing Irvin could have been a threat and form of control for Janice to say, watch out, this is what can happen if you are with someone else.
To help make it happen, he recruited his friend, Omar Robinson.
He's got to go. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about this, man.
Hey, you owe me.
If he had anything over Omar, he probably really used and exploited that.
It could be as simple as he owed him some money, or maybe he was bullied into doing it.
Don't sweat it. It won't be just you, okay?
But it wouldn't be Patrick at Omar's side when he shot Irvin.
Patrick Hughes had utilized Omar Robinson and a third unknown individual to actually perpetrate the shooting.
It's hard to understand how was he able to get them to carry it out.
He was that manipulative and that good at getting people to do what he wanted.
The prosecution believes that Patrick Hughes started to recruit accomplices right after his release.
He got out of prison and was outraged that his woman was with someone else and immediately began plotting Irvin's murder.
All they needed was the perfect opportunity.
They're not sure if Patrick had been stalking Irvin, waiting on the perfect time to do this, or if they just happened on him that evening. But either way, they decided to set their plan in motion on that Black Friday.
He's walking across the street right now.
Patrick guided the gunmen straight to Irvin.
Yeah, I'm walking up now.
He was taken down by getting shot in the leg.
And then the two gunmen moved closer.
Go, please, go!
Prosecutors didn't know which man fired the fatal shot into Irvin's chest, but they knew who'd gotten them to do it.
It was clear Patrick Hughes was the reason Irvin Holton was being shot and killed.
The defense argues that the prosecution's case relies too much on hearsay, coincidence, and speculation.
The primary defense argument was to create reasonable doubt, to take each piece of evidence and isolate it from the rest. Try and say that they don't all add up to anything.
But the jury disagrees.
When you see how each piece of evidence connects to the other piece of evidence, you see beyond a reasonable doubt the guilt of these two people.
And after just 2 days of deliberation, Patrick Hughes and Omar Robinson are both found guilty of first-degree murder.
They were both sentenced to life in prison without parole.
The streets are safer with them behind bars.
They will stay in prison until the day they die.
The second gunman, however, is still at large.
There's one person that's out there that was involved in this thing that's still walking around.
Police haven't given up on bringing that individual to justice.
But even bringing the third man to justice won't make up for what they took from Irvin's family, friends, and community.
Irvin was a single dad raising his daughter alone. She was already in a situation where she wasn't being raised by her mother, and now she loses her father to such tragedy.
For this family, Thanksgiving is not going to always be a place where people joyfully get together. Those anniversary dates hit harder. The remembrance of those activities hit harder. It's always going to be something in the back.
The first time I saw her run, I said, whoa, this girl is rolling.
She was probably the best runner in the state, and she was hopeful for the Olympics.
Shelley had left to go to a party in Center City and never returned home.
Flyers are going up. People were knocking on doors.
He found what appeared to be the remains of a human being.
People are shocked. This is not the outcome that they wanted.
Well, I'm hearing rumors of her mom being jealous, not being a good person at all.
She was sobbing periodically, but never did I see an actual tear.
It's just mind-boggling.
It's 1993 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the city of brotherly love.
Philly was alive with energy. It was, it's the early 90s, so hip-hop is at an all-time high. It's a new art form. Everybody's, the fashion, Philly high schools, we're just like one big hip-hop video. In West Philly, you would have saw sweatsuits and colors and hoodies and fly sneakers and jewelry and leather jackets. You would have got all of that flavor.
On the evening of Tuesday, January 19th, police in West Philadelphia get a call from a concerned mother. Vivian King reports that her 17-year-old daughter, Shelley, is missing.
Her daughter had told her that she was leaving on Sunday night, the 17th, to go to a party.
Vivian had hoped that she had stayed overnight with a girlfriend. Shelley stayed out and stayed at girlfriends' houses frequently.
But now, her daughter has been gone for nearly 48 hours.
The last that this mother knew, her daughter was going to a party with friends. So what happened to Shelley? Why did she disappear?
Born on March 15, 1975, Shelley grew up in a quiet neighborhood in West Philadelphia.
Shelley lived on Edgewood Street, a working-class black neighborhood, and it was a very typical neighborhood.
Her stepfather was Clarence Jones, and her mother was Vivian King. Shelley's last name was Turner, but she did not know her father.
Shelley lived with her mother, her stepfather, who was also the biological father of her younger sister.
He had raised Shelley from when Shelley was like 6 months old. He had been in the picture all of those years. Vivian King was a nurse's aide. She helped Clarence Jones with his newspaper route. He delivered papers to a warehouse, and including the Sunday paper.
Shelley Turner was really a precocious kind of kid in that she had unbelievable talent.
She had been a runner from the time she was 7 years old. Shelley ran everywhere. She ran to the grocery stores, she ran in the neighborhood.
By the age of 10, Shelley was competing.
Shelley was one of those kids where every track meet, she's walking away like this with 4 trophies.
Her sophomore year in high school, Shelley transferred from Overbrook to William Penn High School to run for legendary coach Tim Hickey.
William Penn's track team was known nationally because of the quality of the girls there. Coach Hickey devoted his life to helping these girls.
William Penn did not have a track of its own, so the girls used to run on the streets. And that's how they became so good, because they were running on concrete.
They ran on the sidewalk, so he had markers out there for 200 meters, 400 meters. This man was brilliant. She adored Mr. Hickey.
Over the next 2 years, Shelley thrived.
She was a senior who had big things ahead for her. Big things. She was running very well.
She was probably the best runner in the state and probably one of the best in the country. And she was hoping to go to college. A couple of schools had already offered her scholarships. And she was hopeful for the Olympics.
She was very humble about it. She was very laid back with it. Like Shelley Turner would tear your head off on a track, but just as well go and just sit back and laugh with you and kick back. She wasn't boastful. She wasn't arrogant or conceited.
Vivian proudly displayed the proof of her daughter's success.
It was like a museum. You know, you walk in Shelley Turner's living room and there are medals, there are trophies, plaques. It was the first thing you noticed when you walked in. It was just wasn't room for anything else. And I told her, I said, if you win one more thing, it's going to have to go on the porch.
Shelley was a rising star, but that didn't keep her from helping around the house.
Her mother was strict, and she had a lot of responsibility.
She spent her almost entire time either with the track program, school, or at home babysitting her younger sister. She did have her girlfriends, but they were also mostly all track people too.
When you spend so much time with your teammates, it's just like, that's just what it is. You have other friends, you have outside interests, but we ran track. We didn't just participate. We lived it, we breathed it. You know, it was a part of everything we did.
Shelley was driven, responsible, and always where she was supposed to be. Until Vivian reports her missing on the evening of January 19th, 1993. An officer from Philadelphia's 19th District arrives at Vivian's home.
The officer was told by Vivian that her daughter, Shelley, had left on Sunday night to go to a party in Center City and never returned home.
Vivian said that she stayed awake and that Shelley didn't get home and that she eventually went to sleep. And the next morning, Shelley still wasn't there, but Vivian had hoped that she had stayed overnight with a girlfriend.
Shelley had a track meet that she was to be at on Monday on Martin Luther King Day, even though there was no school that day. And she was the captain of the team, and she was a very pivotal part of the team.
Vivian tried to find out if Shelley showed up for the meet.
Vivian King called Mr. Hickey, and he did not return the phone call. So the next morning, which would have been Tuesday morning, Vivian King called the school and asked to speak with Shelley's first period teacher and found out that Shelley had not reported to school that day. Vivian then asked to speak with Mr. Hickey. The teacher went and got Mr. Hickey and brought him to the phone. And Vivian found out that Shelley was the only one that had not come to the meet.
She was the captain of the team. For her to not show up for the track meet indicated that there probably was a severe problem.
Vivian's next phone call was to police.
Anything could have happened to Shelley, from being abducted, being attacked, or just basically maybe stopping at another friend's house and spending the night.
The officer gathers more details.
The JAD officers would have asked what clothing she had been wearing. They would have gotten the names of some of her friends.
Shelley had a purple tracksuit on, purple sneakers.
That information was then passed on to the Juvenile Aid Division people and to the West Detective Division.
The search for Shelley Turner is on.
The entire division, police division and detective division, were made aware of the fact that she was missing.
On Tuesday, January 19th, 1993, investigators with Philadelphia's Juvenile Aid Division begin their search for Shelley Turner. The 17-year-old hasn't been seen since Sunday.
Shelley had told her mother that she was going to be going to a party that night.
It was like a citywide kind of fun thing where whenever there's no school on a Monday, the promoters would promote to us, and we were all in. You know, we liked to dance. William Penn was a dancing track team.
Investigators speak with Shelley's friend Andrea, who lives across the street. She reveals that Shelley didn't go to the party.
She had actually gone to visit a new boyfriend in North Philadelphia.
Shelley had kept her budding romance with fellow student Sean Williams from her mother.
Shelley had no intention of going to this party. Andrea was the only person who knew that Shelley was going to hang out with Sean, her new boyfriend.
Before Shelley left on the bus for Sean's house, Andrea gave her some last-minute fashion advice.
Her friend said, well, your outfit isn't nice enough with what you're wearing. Wear this jacket with it.
Shelley's wearing a purple tracksuit and a black leather jacket. So that was what they were searching for when they were looking for Shelley.
For detectives, locating Sean Williams is their top priority.
He had transferred in. He was a new student at William Penn. They did talk with him immediately. They got his address through the school.
A couple of detectives came to my house to question me.
Sean tells detectives he met Shelley after transferring to Penn at the beginning of the school year.
My best friend, she kind of brought me into the fold with a lot of the groups and at William Penn, and Shelley was part of the track team. I'm seeing her in the gym. I'm seeing her smile. I think she got cute for me that day. She was definitely a pretty girl. After maybe talking on the phone a time or two, now I feel more comfortable kicking it with her.
So, a few days earlier, Sean invited Shelley to his house for Sunday dinner.
My mom fixed dinner every Sunday. She fixed a nice meal. We enjoyed dinner. We laughed. Our family laughs. Just did our Sunday thing. My mom loved her. So after dinner, we go up to the room. We chilling. We talking, listening to music. We having a good time. We just hanging out for a few hours. My mom's in the place, so we're being good. And I guess time got by us for a while, and now it's late.
At approximately 2 in the morning, Shelley had to go home, and he walked Shelley to the bus stop.
I wanted to make sure that she got home safely. The bus took about 20 minutes to come because it's Sunday night. I wanted to give her a kiss. And she was like, no, I don't kiss in public. In that time, the bus driver had to pause a moment to look at us.
Sean tells them Shelley got on.
From that information, they were able to track down the actual bus driver.
He does remember that Shelley went all the way to the last stop and that Shelley gets off on 60th and Girard.
The fact that the bus driver knew that she had gotten off the bus cleared the boyfriend from any involvement.
Now the question is, what happened to Shelley when she got off the bus?
The bus led her off 6 blocks from her home.
Did she get home? Did she not get home? What happened?
In Philadelphia, investigators have traced 17-year-old Shelley Turner's last known whereabouts to a bus stop 6 blocks from her home.
It was very late. Shelley was a young woman out by herself. It was a kind of rough neighborhood because there were a lot of alleyways and there were a lot of vacant houses.
Anything could have happened to Shelley from the time she got off the bus to the time she would have been able to reach her front door.
Police scour every inch between the bus stop and Shelley's home.
They searched the vacant houses, they searched the alleys looking for her. And they would have checked stores, checked neighbors.
Meanwhile, investigators interview Shelley's coach, Tim Hickey. He's deeply troubled over the disappearance of his protege.
Coach Hickey had known her for so many years and was, had such a deep knowledge of all the girls that he had on his track team.
She would talk to him and tell him things that perhaps she didn't tell anyone else. So there was a bond there. There was a trust.
Coach Hickey reveals that Shelley's relationship with Vivian was troubled.
It was not the greatest situation in her house. That there was an amount of conflict between Shelley and Vivian. Shelley had to bring her sister to practices and some of the meets that she had to go to because Vivian had made Shelley be a primary babysitter.
She was not seeing eye to eye with her mother regarding, her expectations, her curfews, and the things that she wanted in her household.
Coach Hickey reports that Shelley hadn't shown up the morning of the track meet.
Shelley was the only one that was not there. So Mr. Hickey, her coach, went to the house looking for Shelley to take with him, along with the rest of the team, on the van.
Shelley's little sister answered the door. Coach Hickey never saw Vivian, but she called out from upstairs.
Vivian informed him that Shelley had not come home the night before.
Vivian said, "She's not here. Check with Kwanda." Kwanda is Shelley's friend who was also on the team with her.
But Coach Hickey tells the investigators that Kwanda didn't know where Shelley was either. Detectives find it odd that Vivian knew Shelley hadn't shown up at the track meet the morning after she went missing. Not 2 days later, like she told police.
I think it would have been imperative that any caring parent would have notified the police immediately to begin an investigation to try to locate the child.
There is a question as to why Vivian waited so long. What was the reason for that?
As investigators continue to search for the missing teen, they get a phone call from Shelley's friend, Andrea.
Her girlfriend's, the one whose jacket it was, saw Clarence Jones wearing that jacket later and didn't understand how he would have gotten that jacket if Shelley never got home.
The fact would be that if the jacket was subsequently seen several days later, it meant that Shelley had come back to the house with that jacket. That directed our attention more to Clarence at that point in time as being possibly involved in what had happened with Shelley.
Detectives bring in Clarence for questioning.
Clarence explained that he just picked up a jacket that he saw in the living room. He didn't know whose it was. He just saw this jacket and he put it on.
Clarence is very adamant about the fact that he just grabbed the first jacket that he saw and that there were other jackets, black jackets, in the home.
Clarence says that on the night Shelley went missing, he got up at 2:30 a.m. to get ready for work.
And Shelley still wasn't home. And he kept asking, "Where's Shelley? Where's Shelley?" And Vivian didn't know.
He delivered newspapers in the mornings. He would be gone from approximately 3 a.m. until he was finished his paper route.
Clarence's employer verifies his alibi.
Because of the timeline, it would not be possible for Clarence to have been home if Shelly did, in fact, go back to her house the night that she went missing.
The search of the 6 blocks between Shelly's house and the bus stop is also a dead end.
They have no leads. The Philadelphia department has 0.
It became an everyday focus of the media here in Philadelphia of what happened to Shelly, where is Shelly?
Now flyers are going up. They're hanging them on telephone poles. There were marches, people were walking, they were looking, they were knocking on doors.
This particular community came together and raised $6,000. This neighborhood is not a neighborhood of affluence. You know, there's not a lot of money going around. But people were very invested. They wanted to find Shelly. Days turns into weeks, and now people are becoming desperate, and people want answers. People want Shelly to be alive. They want to find her alive.
It's February 1993. Shelly Turner has been missing for 4 weeks. Speculation runs wild through her West Philadelphia neighborhood.
She might have been grabbed. She might have been held captive. She might have been killed. She might have run away.
The city, especially the West Detective Division and the uniform districts in West Philadelphia, were in a constant search for Shelly.
As the community continues to look for the 17-year-old track star, taking center stage is her mother, Vivian.
She's a local celebrity. People hear her on the radio, they read about her in the newspaper, they've seen her on TV.
There were marches led by Miss King, and she was very much in the news media, presenting herself to them as a grieving mother.
Behind closed doors, Vivian is less optimistic.
I started going to Vivian King's house, of course, with my teammates, but after a while, like as the days go on, as the weeks go on, the crowds get smaller. The visits are fewer. So there were times I went by myself. She would say, "We're never gonna see Shay again." She said, "Mister, this is bad." I said, "Don't say that." You know, as a 17-year-old, I'm like, no. We're gonna work this out. She said, "I feel it in my gut. We ain't never gonna see her again." She was very negative about ever seeing her daughter again. And of course, that made me very sad. That made me very upset.
On February 20th, 33 days after Shelly went missing, the case takes a grim turn.
A man was out walking his dog in the Fairmount Park area of Philadelphia near the Mann Music Center.
You're talking about a huge open area with trees. That area is very well populated in the summer, but not so much in the winter.
The dog was acting strange and pulled the man into an area where there were some trees, a wooded area.
The dog guides him toward a blue tarp, streaked with what appears to be dried blood.
When the man went to investigate, he found what appeared to be the remains of a human being.
Within minutes, the park is swarming with law enforcement. They see what appears to be the body of a young female.
Her body was frozen because it was a very, very cold period of time here in Philadelphia. The type of sweatshirt she had on was an inside out. It was on inside out. The pants she had were somewhat of track kind of clothing. Also, there were no footwear. To us, it appeared to us that, she had dressed very, very quickly to leave wherever she had been prior to being there in the park. It was recognized that it very possibly could be the body of Shelley Turner.
While the cause of death isn't clear, wounds to the victim's face and head indicate foul play.
There was indications of blunt force trauma. The way that her hands were found with her body being frozen, her hand was up in front of her face as if she were trying to ward off the attack.
Investigators do not locate any other evidence.
So at that point, they didn't have any conclusive answers.
The next day, Vivian comes to the morgue.
Her body did not deteriorate because of the cold, because she was frozen.
Vivian is shown 5 pictures. They're Polaroids. So based off those 5 pictures, Vivian does in fact identify Shelley Turner as the young woman that they found in Fairmount Park.
The medical examiner determines a cause of death.
Shelley was hit in the head with an object, and then she was shot 6 times.
She has some shots through her chest, through her head, and through her left hand.
Now it's a homicide. And we would start back at the very beginning and re-interview everyone.
The day after she IDs her daughter's body, homicide detectives meet with Vivian at her home.
She was very adamant that we should look into Sean because she related to us that night that she believed Sean lied to her.
Vivian tells detectives she called Sean after Shelley disappeared.
According to her, Sean had made a sausage sandwich for Shelley while she was there, and Vivian inquired whether it was pork or beef, and according to Sean initially, it was a pork sandwich. And then when she questioned him more about the kind of sandwich, he eventually said, oh, perhaps it might have been a beef sandwich. And she felt that was extremely important because, according to Vivian, Shelley was allergic to pork. And when we left the house, that was going to be our next step. We knew that Sean was going to be someone that we wanted to speak to as soon as we could.
After learning that her daughter's missing persons case has just been declared a homicide, Vivian King encourages police to look again at her daughter's suitor, Sean Williams.
We went to his residence, and then we asked Sean if he would come with us to homicide to give a formal statement, and he agreed to do that.
I'm a 17-year-old kid at this time, so I'm not thinking about if you're trying to ask me questions to trick me up or anything like that. I have no sense of that at all. Like, I'm just answering your questions as honestly as I possibly can. And I just wanted to help.
He also agreed to be polygraphed.
I didn't have anything to hide. I wasn't scared.
The person conducting the test informed us that there was no deception indicated by Sean, and that it was the operator's belief that he was telling the truth, that Shelley had gotten on the bus that evening when she disappeared and was the last seen by Sean at that point in time. It was not Sean. Sean had no hand in whatsoever what had happened to Shelley.
Shelley's funeral takes place on February 27th. Over 1,200 people turn out.
It was with teenagers everywhere, just bawling their eyes out, just losing it. It was a mess. It was probably one of the worst days of our young lives. There was very little emotion with Vivian King. You know, maybe a tear trickled, maybe. We were like overwhelmed with grief, and this woman was sitting there with a tight jaw and a tight face. Nobody hugged Vivian King. Nobody talked to her.
Well, I'm hearing rumors of her mom being jealous. They don't get along. I'm hearing, just rumors of her mom just not being a good person at all.
The whispers and stares don't go unnoticed.
About a week and a half after Shelley's body had been discovered, Vivian called. She was hearing rumors, and she wanted to know how she could dispel those rumors. We went over everything again, everything that had transpired from the day that Shelley was last seen. And she related to us how she had cooked dinner, and she right away said she made pork chops, peas, and potatoes, mashed potatoes. Vivian obviously did not remember that she had told us that Shelley had been allergic to pork. Vivian herself was lying. She was trying to direct us towards Sean.
But why? Unaware she was just caught in a lie, Vivian continues her quest to clear her name.
She had mentioned that she had been told that she could take a lie detector test. Vivian, at that point in time, was very adamant she wanted to take that because she believed that she could then tell people she took a polygraph test and passed the test and had nothing to do with what had happened to Shelley.
Results were she had flunked.
We informed her that there was deception indicated, that she was not telling the truth. Vivian started telling us at that point that there were things she just didn't remember. Bits and pieces would come back to her, but she was telling us she just had trouble remembering everything from that night.
Detectives questioned Vivian for hours.
We quietly reviewed with her the problems with her story. The pork chop, Shelley being allergic to that. Also the fact that the black jacket was seen being worn by Clarence days after Shelley had supposedly left and never returned to the house. Vivian, was actually recognizing that the lies that she had told and that none of them were going to hold up. And at that point, she basically was willing to say what had happened.
Vivian tells police that on Sunday, January 17th, she had been out with friends.
She had consumed quite a bit of liquor, and she was also telling us how she had a problem with liquor. When she came home that evening, she found that Shelley had left to go to the party.
Shelley's 1 a.m. curfew came and went.
Vivian waited up for a long period of time and was getting angrier and angrier.
Shelley got into the house about 2:30, having walked from the bus stop. When she got home, her mother and she got into an argument about what time she had come in, and they got into a fight.
And they start kind of tussling back and forth.
Vivian then went upstairs and got her own gun from under her mattress and went downstairs and then confronted Shelley again.
Vivian says that she hit Shelley in the head with the gun and then tells Shelley, "You can't live here anymore. You're not following my rules."
Her mother said, "I'm going to take you to the police station and they're going to put you in a home for bad girls." So she made her get into the car.
The arguing continued.
Vivian claims that she got so angry that she did not go to the police station. She was gonna go fight Shelley.
She then drove into the park. She drove some distance across the grass, according to her, stopped near some trees.
Vivian King made Shelley get out of the car in the park. And they said, "Okay, we're going to fight here." And they actually got into a fist fight.
Shelley had picked up a bottle from the ground, and when she did, Vivian then hit Shelley on the side of the head again with the gun.
Shelley fell to the ground, stunned by the blow.
And while she was laying on the ground, Vivian fired her gun.
Vivian took her gun and shot Shelley 6 times, killing her. She then left her under a tarp that was in the park and some weeds and things, and then went home.
She put her gun back under her mattress and went to sleep.
She says she wakes up the next morning and feels like she just had a bad nightmare.
She had a look of resignation on her face. She was sobbing periodically, but never did I see an actual tear.
Vivian King is arrested and charged with Shelley's murder.
When the news broke that she confessed, of course, that rocked everybody's world. Now all I see is pure evil.
But just days later, at her arraignment, Vivian pleads not guilty.
She says the confession was coerced.
After confessing to shooting her 17-year-old daughter to death in a park, Vivian King now claims her confession was coerced. She sticks by her innocence until October 20th, 1993, when her trial begins.
I'm arguing for first-degree murder, for life as the penalty. I really thought 6 shots was enough for murder 1.
The case hinges on Vivian's confession, a confession she now claims isn't true.
They had no evidence. They had nothing to tie her to it. They didn't have the gun, and they had nothing to convict her except for the confession.
Prosecutors call multiple witnesses who attest to Vivian's well-known temper.
She liked to drink. That was her sport. She liked to go to bars. She liked to fraternize in bars.
When she did drink, she knew that she got angry, and most of her anger was always directed at Shelley.
Shelley was a star. Shelley shined on that track.
She was very jealous of Shelley.
Coach Hickey testifies that Shelley was one of the best runners in the country, in spite of her mother.
She was one of the few parents, I think, who did not go to the meets.
Prosecutors present Vivian's confession as proof of what happened when tension between mother and daughter came to a head.
It was so horrifyingly specific that you're not going to come to the great detail of that kind of confession unless you really did it.
Vivian takes the stand.
Her defense is, I didn't say this willingly. I was coerced into this confession.
Vivian claims the only part of the confession that's true is that she was drunk.
In total, Vivian has had about 88 ounces of liquor over the course of those hours. That's about 11 cups.
Her attorneys argue that Shelley probably fell victim to a random act of violence.
There was conversation about this possibly being a robbery. She did not have her shoes. She did not have a Walkman that Andrea, her friend from across the street, had loaned her. She was missing an earring.
The jury deliberates for 6 hours.
Ultimately, the jury found her guilty of third-degree murder.
It's very hard for a jury to believe that a mother who has raised a daughter 17 years intends to kill her, even with 6 shots to the head and the body. It's just hard. It's easier for them to think, okay, she was drunk, but she didn't really intend for her to die.
It's just mind-boggling to think that a mother could stand over her daughter and shoot her.
but one blooded.
One shot to the back.
Blooded.
One shot to the back of the head.
A detective that never gives up.
To have that stamina to just grind and go, it's something else.
Must connect the dots.
That was like Pandora's box. The investigation just started opening up. You have surveillance.
Behind a carefully planned and coordinated murder plot.
There's the cone.
Yeah.
They're shopping for the tools they need to kill a man.
But one small mistake.
I think I found something.
Leads police to the suspects.
If you didn't shoot this guy, this is the time to say it.
And a showdown to uncover the truth.
This brother wanted to give it up.
You know how hard it's gonna be with a sneeze tag?
We're like, nah, you gotta be kidding me.
We're 30 minutes north of Atlanta in Alpharetta, Georgia. This is a very affluent area that some call the Beverly Hills of the South. Violent crime in Alpharetta is very low, and the occurrence of a homicide is even lower.
And that's why a disturbing call to police in 2016 was so unusual.
What's the address of your emergency?
It's Wade Creek. Need to send someone right away. There are shots fired inside. Have somebody right away.
When police arrive to respond to this call of gunfire coming from the area, they find this door open.
Once officers are on call and they make the interior of the dwelling safe, they notice a black male dead on the floor. That's when they freeze the scene, because now they're calling in homicide. No one else comes in till the homicide units arrive on call.
So Alpharetta police have a phenomenal detective named Ja'Kai Braithwaite in homicide. He takes this case. I know him personally. This guy is the real deal.
I wanted to be an investigator because I wanted a challenge. I want to do what others may not want to do. I want to put the work in. I'm a Jersey boy, a native of New Jersey. My dad was a federal police officer, and it was clear to me that my career path, once I graduated college, was going to be in public safety. December of 1999 was when I was hired by the Alpharetta Police Department. I ended up going to detectives. I think it's a special, unique calling because many are called, but only few are chosen to be a detective.
The victim is a black male, late teens to early 20s.
They don't know who the victim is. He's unidentified. All they know is an older gentleman owns the property by the name of Walter Berry. Clearly, that's not Walter Berry on the floor.
We've got call-outs to the homeowner.
Ja'Kai's partner, Dave Bokniak, quickly meets him at the scene.
You ready to do this? Always. We definitely have a really close bond. Every homicide, Detective Bokniak and I, that we worked, to date, it's been solved. I saw it. You could see this traffic cone right there in the doorway. We were like, what the hell's up with the cone? Is that ours?
It was here before we arrived.
We'll bookmark it for now. Find us some other witnesses. I knew there was going to be some significance to that cone.
They head into the kitchen of the residence, and that's where they find the victim, a young black male, face down in a pool of blood.
Damn. He was on his side, and he had a gunshot wound to his head. There was a bar stool that he was tied up to.
This victim was kneeling down and shot in the back of the head. That speaks nothing but a straight-up execution.
What is that? Looks like power cables. He was wrapped up with like a piece of computer cord or some kind of cord that was in the house.
One shot to the back of the head. We found any shell casings? Did the killer pick up his brass?
No. We were pretty certain it was probably a revolver that was used to shoot the kid.
It's just a kid.
This hit me a little different because I had recently found out that I'm going to be a father.
You good?
I'm about to celebrate a life, and here this life is gone, and I'm thinking like, wow, like I just can't imagine what the family's going to go through.
Detectives, I've got some witnesses for you.
Go. I'll handle the crime scene. Okay.
Jakai meets the next-door neighbors, John and Erica Williams. Turns out John and Erica are the actual 911 callers. So bam, right now Jakai is clicking.
I can't believe this happened to Kadarius.
He's your neighbor?
Jakai learns that the victim is 21-year-old Kadarius Medlock.
Yeah, he lives there with his uncle, Walter Berry.
Tell me more about the crime.
It happened around 9:30 this morning.
Erica had just arrived home. She sees our victim standing on the front porch. He saw her, they knew one another. He waved, she pulled into the garage.
And then about 15 minutes later, I heard 2 gunshots.
Erica described looking out her front window, seeing a black male exit the house and enter the back seat of the vehicle that was pulled into the driveway of her neighbor's house. And then they drove off.
Describe the guy.
He was bald.
He's got a white dust mask on. In my opinion, detective-wise, that's him concealing his face, not wanting anyone to see what he looks like.
Describe the car.
It was maroon in color.
She said she believed it was like a Hyundai or Honda.
If you think of anything else.
She just gave a great jumping off spot.
What'd you find out?
We made contact with the homeowner.
One of the detectives contacted him and learned that he was actually in Dallas, Texas at the time. He immediately got on a plane and flew home.
He's gonna come to the office this afternoon. The other thing is, there are signs of a robbery.
The main bedroom upstairs was completely ransacked. You start asking yourself, what's going on here?
This whole thing looks like a home invasion murder.
Let's find out who else we can speak with.
Jakai and Dave also find one other witness that reported seeing suspicious activity around the townhome.
I thought he was just doing street work.
He saw a black male walking around the townhome wearing one of those traffic vests, and he had in his possession a traffic cone.
When he told us the traffic cone, and obviously we saw it inside the residence, we were like, okay. So these jokers were using that traffic cone to disguise themselves as construction workers.
What do you look like?
Young, maybe in his 20s, short hair.
According to this witness, the man in the traffic vest later comes out of the house and got into the maroon car, and the maroon car speeds away.
All right, thank you.
We definitely, at that point, were starting to try to connect some of the dots.
Hey, what's up? What's happening? This is my friend's house.
Relax.
He was asking, what's going on? This is our friend,
His name is Ezekiel Mott, and he claims to be Kadarius's friend.
We want to know what's up.
I see a small maroon car.
This right here is a totally unbelievable moment. Did the killers just return to the scene of the crime?
We need to ask you some questions.
This investigation is about to take a crazy turn.
What is that? Looks like power cables.
Alpharetta, Georgia, homicide detective Jakai Braithwaite is investigating the murder of 21-year-old Kadarius Medlock.
Describe the guy.
He was bald.
Witnesses identified 3 suspects in the case and a getaway car.
It was maroon in color.
Witnesses solve crimes. We definitely have a good start in place.
Hey, what's happening? This is my friend's house.
Relax.
While Jakai was at the crime scene, the victim's friend Ezekiel arrives.
We want to know what's up.
And he happens to be in a car that looks just like the one the suspects drove.
We need to ask you some questions.
Was this a situation where a jealous friend murdered his boy, or what?
Why are you here?
Friend texted me about it.
You may have situations where suspects return to the crime scene to watch, to see what's going on.
Is that your car?
My girl's right.
The biggest thing was the car. That small maroon car, we definitely were honing in on that.
We want to talk to you at the station.
We had to ask questions, and we did just that.
Jakai brought Ezekiel and his girlfriend back to the precinct for questioning. He also asked Erica Williams, the witness who had the best look at the suspect's car, to also come in.
Erica looked at the actual car and told Jakai that it's either the car or a car that looks exactly like it. Between the car match and Ezekiel having a similar description to one of the suspects, it was time to turn up the heat.
During the interview with Ezekiel, the young man denied involvement in his friend's death. In fact, he provided Jakai with an alibi. He said he was shopping at the time of the murder.
Between phone records and eyewitnesses, Ezekiel was cleared of any wrongdoing. It turned out that it was a crazy coincidence that Kadarius' friend had the same type of car as the killers.
That was ME's office. The case was ruled a homicide by gunshot, and the caliber bullet was a .38.
Walter Berry's here.
Kadarius' uncle arrives back in town. As they meet face to face, Jakai's totally surprised. He knows the uncle.
I knew him by W, like, hey, what's up, W? You know, but I had no idea when I heard the name Walter Berry that that was an individual who I had known from the gym and through a circle of friends.
So sorry for your loss.
Of course, he was wrecked. He started telling us some of the victimology about his nephew.
Darius was like my son.
His nephew was from Memphis. He came to live with him a few years ago. He worked at a local restaurant, which he would walk to every day.
He was going to school, and he just turned 21.
That time, we're learning, like, wow, this was a good kid.
Was he beefing with anyone? No.
I want to know, is your nephew into anything?
He didn't run around in the bad crowd.
At this point, Jakai and Dave got to look at the uncle cross-eyed a little bit and see what's going on.
What about you?
I'm wondering, you mixed up in something?
You know me.
Just answer the question.
Even though they're social and they know some of the same friends, it doesn't matter. Jakai has a duty.
Just tell the truth. Look, I don't know anything.
I said, listen, I don't really care what you're into right now. Right now, my goal is to figure out what happened to your nephew.
This wasn't because of me, I swear. I want to find out who did this too.
What was taken from your bedroom?
I made a list.
The uncle goes on and gives Jakai a long laundry list of items, very expensive items.
A lot of his watches were taken. He had a Gucci scarf that was inside his Louis Vuitton bag, and the duffel bag actually even had his initials on the handle of it.
They stole a PlayStation, some cash too, and my gun. What kind of gun? A .40 caliber.
It's not the murder weapon.
There was a semi-automatic, and we believe the murder weapon was a revolver.
Again, I'm sorry for your loss, man.
We knew we were dealing with a burglary/home invasion, but we couldn't understand why the death, why the murder. We believe we're dealing with 3 suspects. And we're like, all right, what do we have to focus on? What's up with this cone?
Look, man, there's not even a mark on it.
This cone was a brand new cone.
It still has the barcode sticker on it.
Maybe we can find out where it was sold.
We actually researched the name brand on the cone.
I'm a detective in Georgia.
We discovered that this company, the only place in the Southeast that they distributed to was Lowe's.
There's a Lowe's less than 3 miles away from Kadarius's home. What are the odds they bought it here?
This orange cone could crack the case.
Let's roll. Look, man, there's not even a mark on it.
Detective Ja'Kai Braithwaite has just caught a break in the Kadarius Medlock murder case.
Maybe we can find out where it was sold.
Ja'Kai finds out that the safety cone left at the crime scene is only sold at the home improvement store Lowe's.
Let's roll.
We were thinking that, whoa, maybe there is something here.
On April 23rd, 2016, just 2 days after the murder, Ja'Kai and his partner go to Lowe's, hoping to stir up a lead on the case.
As soon as we walk into Lowe's, smacked us right in the face. What do we see?
Is this for real?
They have a display stand of all of that safety equipment. Traffic cones, work vests, traffic vests, dust masks. I definitely got excited. I was like, yeah.
He knows that these killers probably stopped at this Lowe's, purchased that cone, which means there's gonna be a receipt, transaction, and video.
Ja'Kai and Dave have to find out if and when that cone was actually purchased in this Lowe's store.
It looks like the cone was bought on the 21st at 8:41 a.m.
That's an hour before the murder.
They bought other stuff too.
He tells us not only was that cone purchased, but a dust mask and a traffic vest.
This is a detective's dream. This is Christmas Day at Lowe's. I mean, bam.
How's it paid for?
With a credit card.
This is when my partner and I almost high-fiving each other. We're playing the cool though, right?
They're on a roll. So now for the cherry on top moment.
You have surveillance?
Yeah, come take a look.
That was like Pandora's box. The investigation just started opening up. There he is.
Ja'Kai.
Man, what's going on,
man? We met with Ja'Kai and his partner, Dave Bokniak, to take a look at the Lowe's surveillance video.
So you're in the store, the manager is helping. He's actually jumping in there, giving you stuff with no pushback.
I'm jumping out of my seat. We couldn't get back there to go look at that video quick enough.
So let's take a look at it.
Okay. So this is the cash register. We see these two guys approach, and they both match the description, albeit a vague description from the witnesses, but they match the description.
Oh, so the two guys, white T-shirt and black T-shirt.
Right. Yeah. So when I'm seeing this, we're like, yo, this is our guy. This is the dude.
There's the cone.
Yeah.
So they're literally shopping to get items that they need to commit a murder. They're shopping for the tools they need to kill a man. That's crazy. I've never seen anything like that. So at this point in the video, you're considering these guys could be any of the 3 suspects.
Exactly. And in fact, yeah, we don't know who is who.
I love the quality of the video. It shows the exchange between these two brothers. They were setting your story up and making it look pretty.
It's a phenomenal moment.
It felt good. Yeah, I mean, of course, we don't know who these actors are, right? But we knew we got something. So we're in the game now. You actually see these 2 brothers walk out of the store and they walk right over to the car, which actually fit the description of, the car given by our witnesses. And you see him, look at him, he's still holding a cone. Actually, we ended up sending this cone off to the GBI to be analyzed.
I specifically told them to look inside the rim of the cone for DNA.
You got at least 2 of the 3 guys on the roll call that you're looking for. What do you do next to try to move this case forward?
At this point, we know we have a credit card associated with this, so we know we're gonna start rolling, we know we're gonna start doing.
The account was opened about 6 weeks ago, but now it's closed.
We contact the credit card company. They immediately let us know, yes, this was a fairly new account.
Who owned the account?
The name is Tyrese Donaldson.
I'll run his info.
The name comes with everything. It comes with addresses. It comes with race. You may get a look at your person of interest or your suspects. I close the business.
It's a fake identity.
The name on the credit card was one person. The information belonged to another person.
You made a lot of purchases before the account was closed.
Can you send us a list with all the transactions?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
We weren't discouraged. We knew that there was a good chance doors were going to start opening. We are looking and analyzing all of these transactions.
They racked up $13,000 worth of charges all over the metro area. And every purchase on that card presents an opportunity for Jakai and Dave to identify who is actually using the card.
Restaurants, nightclubs, electronic stores.
As Jakai and Dave are going through all of these transactions, there's one that really stands out.
Hold up. Check this out.
It was a bill paid, insurance bill paid for an insurance company. So then we sent subpoenas to this insurance company for subscriber information related to that, and we get the name of a female.
This is an auto policy. The holder's name is Melanie Pound.
So we're like, what's the connection with this female?
She's connected to our guy.
We know as investigators that suspects do that, right? Everything is through their mother or through their girlfriend.
Probably your girlfriend.
And there is a secondary driver listed on the policy. Jamel Ganesh.
We run that person's name, and we get name, date of birth, we get a driver's license photo. The driver's license photo of who was listed as a secondary driver is the black male, bald head, bushy beard.
This is more than a good lead. This is straight butter.
This is the guy from the surveillance video.
Jakai and Dave had just identified their very first suspect.
Is this for real?
Detective Jakai Braithwaite traces the cone recovered from the crime scene to a nearby store.
We see these two guys approach the cash register.
Surveillance video at the store provides detectives with a glimpse of two of the suspects.
Hold up. Check this out.
A suspicious transaction on the suspect's fraudulent credit cards provides police with a name. Jamel Ganesh.
This is the guy from the surveillance video.
This is a major break in the case. They finally found a legitimate name and identity to work with.
We were excited. That was another aha moment for us. We just identified our first suspect, but we were just moving. We knew we just had, a lot of work to do.
Instead of immediately arresting Jamel Ganesh, Jakai and his partner took a more methodical approach.
They dove into Jamel's background and discovered that he lived in an apartment complex in Atlanta.
Further digging uncovered his cell phone number. Detectives quickly subpoenaed the phone records
and hoped that it would lead to the identity of the other suspects.
Phone records came in.
You have phone records, call detail report, and you're looking for frequency in calling, like the most called number or top callers.
I'm seeing two numbers that stick out.
Let me track him and see if they match up, okay?
We're not just analyzing phone logs, we're analyzing cell towers, right? So we're getting movements of these numbers.
These three, they belong together.
We can see the movements and GPS coordinates and with the towers that these phones are bouncing off of, just putting them into Alpharetta.
And that was in the night before the murder.
We see that these individuals are in one central location.
They're at Jamal's condo.
Electronically, it's like watching a movie.
This is the morning of...
We see those phones, they start to move together, going toward the same location.
They can see them travel on a map from their home to the Lowe's, to the crime scene, and then back home.
Damn, this is unbelievable.
Check this out.
One of the unique things about all three of these numbers is that these individuals leading up weeks prior to the homicide, their phones never show a history of ever going to the city of Alpharetta.
So why did they go to his house?
Maybe they got tipped off that there are like valuable things to steal. I don't know.
At that point, we felt pretty certain that those were going to be our suspects.
Run the other two numbers.
First comes back to Michael Dawson. Here we go.
We see his driver's license photograph, and we're like, oh.
That's the guy that had the cone.
The getaway driver.
We believe that, yeah, Michael Dawson is going to be the individual who actually went into Lowe's with Ganesh.
Now they've ID'd both suspects from the Lowe's video. This is all coming together.
And the last guy?
The last number belongs to Dontravius Mahone.
I thought he was just doing street work.
It appears they have identified all three suspects in the case.
What I can't figure out, the car. None of them own the vehicle.
Wait a sec.
One of the numbers that Jakai and his partner Dave discovered were on these call detail reports was from Prestige Auto.
Prestige Auto.
Let's check this place out.
This could be the final piece of the puzzle.
Hey, y'all need a rental today?
This is a place you can actually rent and pay for these cars in cash.
So how can I help y'all today?
We're with Alpharetta PD.
Okay. All right, just give me 1 minute.
Right now, Jakai and Dave want to know what vehicles were rented from Prestige Auto around the time of the murder.
I think I found something.
They learned that the phone number associated with the suspect rented a maroon Hyundai Accent 2 days before the homicide and then returned it on the day of the homicide.
Just follow me.
Are you effing kidding me right now? This has got to be the place.
There it is. A Hyundai Accent.
That's the maroon car.
It was like crazy.
They got him. It's arrest warrant time right now.
Phone records came in.
Detective Jakai Braithwaite is one step closer to solving the Kadarius Medlock homicide.
That's the guy that had the cone.
The getaway driver.
Jakai and his partner appear to have identified all three suspects.
So how can I help y'all today?
On top of that, they find the place that the getaway car was rented from.
There it is.
We end up finding what kind of car it was.
A Hyundai Accent.
This case is about to be closed.
Who rented this car?
A woman named Sharon Jones.
The car was probably rented to the suspect's girlfriend. That's common. They get a girl to do it, and then the girl gives them the car, they go commit the crime, give it back to her, she turns the car in, no one knows the difference.
I can tell you exactly where they drove it.
How?
We track them so nobody steals them.
So they actually have their vehicles equipped with a hidden GPS?
Give me the GPS data.
Yeah, sure thing.
Right now, it's time for Jakai and Dave to just bring the case on home. Between the witness statements, surveillance video, phone, and GPS records, Jakai had a mountain of evidence connecting all three suspects to the murder.
Further digging revealed that a girlfriend of suspect Dontravius Mahone helped rent the car for them.
The final cherry on top was the DNA from Michael Dawson, the man they believed to be the getaway driver, was found on the cone.
At this point, arrest warrants were issued for the suspects. Now all they had to do was take them into custody.
On the morning of June 28, 2016, they put together a plan.
Police search warrant!
We had 3 suspects in 3 different counties.
Jakai's in Atlanta, Dave is in Clayton County, and another detective from Alpharetta is in DeKalb County. Literally, like looking at their watches and saying, go. All 3 agencies hit these 3 houses at the exact same time.
Police, get your hands up. Hey, your hands up.
And what's crazy about this simultaneous operation, they hit this house and suspect Dontravius Mahone actually goes for a gun.
Go.
Clayton County SWAT, they don't play around.
They recovered the gun and they took Dontravius into custody without incident.
I ain't do nothing, man.
Jakai arrests Jamel Ganesh without any incident.
Take him away.
I was speaking to Ganesh, then fairly quickly said he didn't want to talk.
What's up, brother?
We've got some evidence.
Nice.
There were crucial pieces of evidence that we were able to connect back to these actors from evidence that was actually stolen from the victim's house.
Any updates from the cab?
Yeah, Michael Dawson is in cuffs.
In the room he was staying at the time that he was arrested, the Louis Vuitton bag with the victim's initials were found.
What about Mahomes?
No.
He's got cold feet.
At this point, Jakai and Dave are just crazy AF. They feel like they've done everything they need to do on this case. They've got every rudimentary piece of evidence needed to keep these guys away for the rest of their lives.
As Jakai is wrapping up, he gets a phone call.
Jakai.
You need to come down here right now.
It's the detective that arrested Michael Dawson.
He's like, yo, he's talking.
All right, I'm on my way.
Jakai's like, damn, I'm gonna get my full confession.
Police start guard!
A coordinated raid leads to the arrest of all three suspects in the Kadarius Medlock homicide investigation.
I ain't do nothing, man. Take him away.
Jakai and his team believe they have enough for a successful prosecution.
You need to come down here right now.
Michael Dawson, who Jakai believes is the getaway driver, this brother wants to talk.
I'm on my way.
Even though he's got a mountain of evidence in the case, Jakai wants more. He wants a confession.
Detectives go to the DeKalb County Police Department where Michael Dawson is being held.
Detective Dave Bokniak and another detective take the first stab at Dawson.
I want to show you some pictures, okay?
Fine. Dawson admits that he knows Jamel Ganesh and Dontravius Mahone.
You had been in Alpharetta in a burgundy vehicle?
Yeah.
He's putting himself with these guys in the car on the day of the murder in Alpharetta.
He talked about going to Lowe's.
What'd you get at Lowe's?
I think like some goggles, a vest, and what you call them?
Traffic cone?
Yeah, the traffic cone.
Where'd you guys go from there?
We met Money.
Where was that at?
That was at Publix.
He said they went to Publix instead of going to the actual home. His reason they went to Publix was because they were buying drugs from somebody named Money.
What did Money look like?
I don't know.
Who knew him?
I guess Jamil.
How much did he buy?
Probably like a £1/4.
Dawson denies any involvement in the murder. He doesn't put himself there.
I don't know who killed him, man. I would tell you if I knew.
Right now, this is a game of total BS.
Do you know what he bought the traffic cone and that stuff for?
No.
Did you think it was weird that he was purchasing those items? I mean, didn't mention anything about him?
No.
He basically admitted to everything that went on in Alpharetta except going to the house. But he replaced the house with the place they went to Publix, and they dealt with a guy named Money for some kind of drug deal.
Right now, the interview's done. They take old Dawson back to Alpharetta PD and book him. At this point, Jakai decides to take a run at Dawson himself.
Although you watch TV and you know cops bullshit lie, this here, man. That Louis bag that was in your closet, where'd you get that from?
To me.
Dawson did say that was given to him from Ganesh.
Can I tell you something? The victim's initials
are on the tag. Did you notice that? So you see how things are connecting to you, right?
I said, I know what you did. I know how you did it. I just don't know why you did it. I just need you, break it down to me.
I didn't pull the trigger.
Okay, so tell me about this then. What went down? What happened?
I tell you, man, this brother wanted to give it up.
I don't want them to get it on my chest. That's what I want.
Okay.
But he didn't.
You know how hard it's gonna be to be in a state camp with a snitch tag? Man, hell no.
He basically just said, I can't snitch because he's like, it won't serve me well when I go to jail. He wanted to talk, but he just would not.
Even though Jakai didn't get a confession or a clear motive, he's got a good idea of what went down that day.
They came to that zip code for the lick. The lick is a robbery. They probably had some kind of intel.
I believe that there was something associated with the uncle that enticed and interested these three actors.
After picking up the car and the supplies at Lowe's, they headed straight for the townhouse.
We think that they used their disguise to blend in and not bring attention to themselves.
It appears that Mahone and Ganesh are the ones that actually went into the house, and Dawson stayed in the car. They're going, we did our surveillance and nobody's supposed to be there. What if they're there? We're still going to carry out the lick, hence taking a firearm.
This kid was supposed to be working this day and wasn't doing that. As soon as they made contact with him, they immediately tied him up. They tied him up with a cord that was already in that house. So I don't think they were really prepared for him. Probably one of them were paying attention to him while the other one ransacked the house, stealing and burglarizing some items. I believe it was Mahomes who took the shots, which struck our victim, Kadarius Medlock, in the head, causing his death. And then they immediately went to the car. Our reason on why they killed this kid, again, I can't tell you. Maybe they were afraid that he saw them and that he would give them up, or just maybe they're just straight up, monsters.
This is the worst of the worst. We're talking about a victim, wrong place, wrong time. But if he wasn't at home or picked up that extra work that day, he'd still be here today.
Jamel Ganesh, Dontravius Mahone, and Michael Dawson are all charged with the murder of Kadarius Medlock.
In December 2018, the Fulton County DA's office takes them to trial. They're all found guilty. And all three are sentenced to life in prison. I love the work y'all did in this case. I've never seen a file that thick.
And the DA's office actually honored us as investigators or officers of the year and gave us this award for solving this case. And it's funny, they actually put it right here, in a traffic cone in the case here for us. But
That's awesome. I love it.
Nice touch.
So it was nice to be honored for the work.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
You ready to do this?
Always.
When I look back on this case, I look at how the process was for Jakai and for his partner, Dave.
Is that your car?
It's my girl's ride.
They took their time. They could have rushed in, put handcuffs on everybody before all the good evidence came in.
Looks like the cone was bought on the 21st.
They sat there with their lines in the water.
There it is.
And waited on three big fish to land up on the dock.
Police search warrant!
It was a beautiful case.
Guys, thank you so much for meeting with us, man. This case was incredible, and we really appreciate it.
Loved it.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
My brother.
Good to see you.